Each December, Dakota riders journey across hundreds of miles, retracing the steps of their ancestors. They ride to remember, they ride to heal. But their journey is rooted in a history of suffering, betrayal, and resilience, a history that must not be forgotten. For centuries, the Dakota people thrived in the Minnesota River Valley, living in harmony with the land. But with the arrival of European settlers, everything began to change. Treaties signed in 1805, 1837, 1851, and 1858 promised the Dakota land, resources, and support. Yet, time and again, those promises were broken. The U.S. government failed to deliver payments and essential supplies, leaving entire communities on the brink of starvation. As one trader coldly remarked, "Let them eat grass if they are hungry." When survival became impossible, the Dakota people had no choice but to fight for their lives. In August 1862, after years of hunger and oppression, a faction of Dakota warriors took up arms, launching attacks against settlers and military outposts. The U.S.-Dakota War had begun. The war raged for 6 weeks, leaving hundreds of settlers and Dakota dead. But in the end, the Dakota were overwhelmed. Their leaders surrendered, hoping for justice. Instead, they found cruelty. 303 Dakota men were sentenced to death in a series of swift, unjust trials, some lasting no more than 5 minutes. President Abraham Lincoln, under pressure from settlers, reviewed the cases. In the end, he commuted most of the sentences, but approved the execution of 38 Native men. On a bitter winter morning, thousands of settlers gathered to witness the largest mass execution in U.S. history. The 38 Dakota men sang a death song as their heads were covered and nooses were placed around their necks. Their bodies were left hanging for hours before being buried in a mass grave. But even in death, their suffering was not over. That night, their graves were raided. European doctors stole their remains for medical experiments, further desecrating their memory. The Dakota people were exiled from their homeland, driven into barren reservations. Their lands were seized, their culture nearly erased, but their spirit endured. More than 150 years later, the descendants of the Dakota warriors ride in their memory. The Dakota 38+2 ride is not just a tribute, it is an act of resilience, a reclamation of history, and a path toward healing. Through this journey, the riders honor their ancestors, educate future generations, and remind the world of the injustices that must never be repeated. Their journey is not just one of miles, it is a journey through history, a journey toward justice, a journey of remembrance. And so they ride.